The Valorian explorer ship moved slowly through the thick nebula. The ship's name was the Horizon. Captain Gentox stood on the bridge and looked at the planet below. His skin changed color as he thought. Blue to green, green to yellow. This was how Valorians showed what they felt. The planet was called TR-47. It was in a system that no one had visited in many years. The ship's computers said this planet was a Class-20 Deathworld. That meant it was deadly. Nothing could live there. The air was poison. The weather was bad. The ground was hot in some places and frozen in others. Gentox was a good captain. He had explored 40 different star systems. He had found 3 new types of alien life. He had brought back knowledge that helped his people. But he had never seen anything like this planet. The readings were wrong. That was what bothered him. "Show me the data again," he said to the science officer. Vela was a young Valorian. Her body was thin and her skin was clear like glass. She could see things that other Valorians could not. She moved to the main computer screen. "The atmosphere is mostly toxic gas," Vela said. "Nitrogen mixed with sulfur and other bad chemicals. No oxygen. Nothing can breathe this air." "I know what a Class-20 Deathworld is," Gentox said. "Tell me what is different." Vela moved her fingers on the screen. Data appeared. Numbers and symbols filled the air above the console. "The storms," Vela said. "They move in patterns. Regular patterns. Storms on Deathworlds are random. These are not random." Gentox leaned closer. She was right. The storms moved in lines across the planet. They came and went at regular times. That was not natural. "There is more," Vela said. Her color changed to purple. "Fear. I found heat sources. Under the ground. Lots of them. In different places across the planet. Could be volcanic activity," another officer said. His name was Marcus. He was older and had less interest in mysteries. "Volcanic heat is different," Vela said. "This heat is controlled. It is in lines. In patterns. Someone made this heat." The bridge went quiet. Gentox sat in his chair. This was important. He knew it in his bones. Something was on this planet. Something that made heat. Something that used the storm somehow. "Send down a probe," he said. "A small one. No weapons. Just sensors." The probe launched from the ship. It fell through the toxic clouds. The atmosphere burned at it. The probe shields worked hard to keep it safe. Down and down the probe went. The cameras on the bridge showed what the probe saw. The ground came into view. It was black rock, broken and sharp. No plants, no water, just broken rock and dust. Then something appeared on the screen. "Stop," Gentox said. "Go back." The probe's camera moved backward. There, on the ground. A building. It was made of stone. Real stone cut and put together by hands. The building had walls and a roof. Holes in the walls for windows. A door that was closed tight. "Magnify," Gentox said. The image grew larger. The building was not broken. It was not old. It looked new. The stone was clean. There were other buildings near it, and roads between the buildings, and something that looked like fields. In a place with no life. In a place that should have been empty. Vela's skin turned completely white. She had no color at all now. Pure white. Shock. "What is that?" she asked. "A settlement," Gentox said. His color went dark red. Anger. Or maybe not anger. Confusion. He did not know what to feel. Someone is living down there. The probe moved forward. The camera showed more and more of the area. There were many buildings. At least 30. Some were large. Some were small. There were metal things on the roofs. Solar panels. The probe's computer said these were ways to make power from the sun. There were also domes. Large clear domes connected to the buildings, greenhouses, places to grow food. But how? The air was poison. The soil was dead. How were they growing anything? The probe moved over a hill. On the other side was something new. A tall structure. Metal and glass. And on top of this structure was a light. A light that blinked. On and off. On and off. Regular and steady. That is a beacon, Vela said. A distress beacon. Yes, Gentok said. It has been sending a signal for a long time. The power to send the signal is still strong. Someone is maintaining it. Someone is keeping it working. Marcus stood up. Captain, we have to leave. This could be a trap. A warning. A way to catch exploring ships. It is not a trap, Vela said. Her color was returning to normal. Blue and green mixing together. Curiosity was winning over fear. A trap would not have green fields. A trap would not have children's things. She moved the camera focus. Near one of the domes was an open area. In that area were shapes. Small shapes. A slide. A swing. Things for children to play on. Children, Gentok said. Someone brought children to this world. He stood up. He knew what he had to do. Prepare a shuttle, he said. We are going down there. Captain, that is dangerous, Marcus said. Yes, Gentok said. It is, but there are people down there. Maybe humans. Maybe another species. But there are thinking beings living on a Class-20 Deathworld. That should not be possible. That is the biggest discovery any of us will ever make. And I will not leave until I know their story. Vela began to prepare the shuttle. Marcus checked the weapons. 3 security officers put on their protective gear. The gear was heavy and thick. It had shields against the toxic air. It had cooling systems. It had everything needed to survive on this deadly world. Gentox put on his own gear. His color stayed dark, serious. Ready. The shuttle bay doors opened. The shuttle was ready. The engines were ready. Gentox and his team walked into the shuttle. The doors closed. The shuttle moved to the launch platform. Are you sure about this? Vela asked. No, Gentox said. But I know we have to do it. Something is down there. Something that changes everything we know about life and survival. The shuttle launched. It fell away from the ship. The toxic clouds came closer and closer. The heat began to build. The shields worked hard. The winds pushed at the shuttle. Gentox looked out the window. He could see the settlement below. The buildings. The domes. The people moving between the structures. The people in a place where nothing should live. People were living. They had made a home. They had built a life. They had brought their children. Gentox did not know who they were. He did not know how they survived. But he knew this moment would change his life forever. And it would change the life of his entire species. The shuttle moved down through the toxic clouds, toward the impossible settlement. The shuttle fell through the toxic clouds. The heat from the lower atmosphere made the shields glow bright orange. The wind pushed hard against the small ship. The 5 Valorians inside held tight to the rails above their heads. The ride was rough and bumpy. Gentox looked at his team. Vala held her position without fear. She was young but strong. Marcus held on with both hands. His face showed worry. The 3 security officers were calm. They had been through bad landings before. The clouds became lighter as they fell lower. The ground came into view. It was black rock and dust. But now they could see the settlement clearly. It was bigger than the probe's camera had shown. Much bigger. There were buildings everywhere. Some were built into the rock itself. Some were above ground and made of stone. There were roads made of flat rock connecting everything. There were water pipes that went from place to place. The people here had built a real city, not a simple camp. A real city on an impossible world. The shuttle landed with a hard bump. The engine stopped. For a moment, nothing happened. Then a voice came through the radio. "Welcome to New Hope. I am Dr. Lisa Morrison. Do not be afraid. We are peaceful. Please follow the marked path when you leave the shuttle." The voice was female, and the words were in the Valorian language. Perfect Valorian. No mistakes. No strange accent. Whoever this Morrison was, she was educated. Gentox looked at Viola. She shook her head. She had no answer. "Open the airlock," Gentox said. The airlock cycle began. Outside the window, Gentox could see movement. People were coming out of the buildings. Tall figures, thin compared to Valorians. 2 legs, 2 arms. Very human. The airlock finished. The outer door opened. The toxic air was outside. The shield systems of their gear began to work hard. Alarms sounded in their helmets. The air was poison. The air was hot. The air was wrong. A figure walked toward the shuttle. It was a human woman. She wore protective gear like the Valorians. But her gear was simpler, less advanced. Yet it worked. She was alive in this poison. She held her hands up. Open, empty, no weapons. The universal sign of peace across 1,000 worlds. "Welcome," the woman said through the radio. "I am Dr. Lisa Morrison. Please come with me. Inside is safe. The air is breathable. The temperature is normal for human life." Gentox and his team walked down the shuttle ramp. Their boots made sounds on the black rock. The toxic wind pushed at them. But the shields held strong. Morrison waited for them. Up close, Gentox could see her face. Her skin was dark brown. Her eyes were intelligent. Her hair was gray. She was old, at least by human standards. She had lived a long life here. The settlement's main building was in front of them. It was large and made of solid stone. The walls were thick. Morrison led them to the entrance. There was a double-door system, an airlock like the one on the shuttle. They entered the first room. The doors closed behind them. Machines began to work. Air moved in and out. The poison was being taken away. The second doors opened. The air inside was different. It was cool. It was clean. It was breathable. Gentox and his team removed their protective gear. The air was safe for Valorians, too. That was surprising. Inside the main hall was a large room. Long tables, chairs, lights that ran on power from the solar panels outside. And food, real food, grown somewhere, prepared carefully. Other humans were in the room. Men and women. Children, too. They stood quietly and watched the aliens. Their faces showed no fear, only interest. "My people want to know about you," Gentox said. "How are you alive here? This world kills everything. Our data says nothing can survive the air, the radiation, the weather." Morrison smiled. It was a kind smile, tired. The smile of someone who had told this story many times before. "Come," she said. "Sit, we will eat. Then I will tell you everything." They sat at one of the long tables. Morrison brought food herself. Bread, some kind of meat, vegetables that grew in the domes, water, clean water. It was all simple and basic food. As they ate, Morrison began to talk. "Our ship crashed here 15 years ago," she said. "A transport ship. We had 400 people. An engine failure. We could jump through the wormhole and maybe die in space. Or we could land here and maybe survive. We chose survival. 15 years. Gentok said. And you are still alive. Some of us, Morrison said. Not all. 8 people died in the first year. 3 more in the second year. 2 children died from radiation sickness. 1 old man could not adjust to the gravity differences. We lost good people. She was quiet for a moment. Then she continued. But we also learned. We found water deep underground. We learned how to clean it and make it safe to drink. We learned the toxic atmosphere had minerals we could use. We learned how to build domes that could keep the poison out, but let the sun in. We learned to grow food that could survive here. A young man stood up. He was tall and strong. His skin was light, and his hair was red. I am Paul Rodriguez, he said. I was an engineer on the ship. We found ways to make power from the sun and the wind. The wind here blows hard all the time. We use it. We use it to make electricity. An older woman stood next. She had dark skin and kind eyes. I am Nancy Chun, she said. I am a doctor. I kept people alive when they were sick. I helped babies be born. I have helped my people stay healthy in this harsh place. One by one, the humans stood and spoke their names. Jack Stevens, Mary Johnson, David Miller, Sarah Watson, and many others. Each one had a role. Each one had helped build this settlement. Gentox watched them. These humans were not weak. They were not helpless. They were strong. They were smart. They had taken an impossible world and made it livable. Why did you send the distress beacon? Vila asked. Hope, Morrison said simply. We sent it because we wanted to know if anyone would hear it. We wanted to know that the rest of the galaxy knew we were here. We wanted to know that we were not forgotten. You are not forgotten, Gentok said. You are discovered. And you are remarkable. Morrison's eyes became wet. Not sad, happy, relieved. That is all we wanted, she said. To be seen. To be known. To matter. Gentox looked around the hall. At the humans. At their settlement. At the impossible life they had built. This was not just a discovery. This was proof. Proof that life could survive anything. That intelligence could overcome any problem. That humans were far more than anyone had thought. I will tell my people about you, Gentok said. I will tell them about what you have done here. Will they believe you? Morrison asked. Gentok smiled. His skin turned yellow. Happy. They will have to, he said. Because you are real. And you are alive. And you are here on a world that should have killed you. But instead, you have made it your home. Over the next hours, Morrison took Gentox through the settlement. She showed him everything. The water systems. The power systems. The food growing areas. The living spaces. The medical area. The workshops where people made things. The story of how they survived began to come together like pieces of a puzzle. When the transport ship first crashed, the people had only what was on the ship. Food for 3 months. Water for 1 month. Fuel for emergency power. Tools and materials. But nothing more. They were trapped on a world that wanted to kill them. The first thing they did was find shelter. They used the ship's cargo containers to build the first buildings. They dug into the black rock and made caves. They used every piece of the ship to create safety from the deadly weather outside. The storms were the worst problem at first, Morrison said. They stood in the main workshop. Old equipment was stored here. Tools, materials, things from the crash ship. These storms can reach speeds of 300 kilometers per hour, she continued. They carry dust that can cut skin. They carry acid from the clouds. The first storm killed 3 people before we learned how to protect ourselves. What did you do? Gentox asked. We learned from mistakes, Morrison said. Jack Stevens, our engineer, studied the storm patterns. He noticed they came and went at regular times. He noticed the wind always blew from the same direction during the worst part. He built the first protection wall. Only, it stopped the wind. It saved lives. They moved to the water system. It was complex. Pipes everywhere. Machines that cleaned and filtered. Tanks that stored water for emergencies. Finding water was almost impossible, Morrison said. The rain here is acid. It burns and kills. We could not drink it or use it. So Paul Rodriguez invented the water collector. He found that if we dug deep enough underground, there was water. Clean water. Pure water. We built wells. We pumped the water up. A young man named Marcus was in the water station. Not the security officer Marcus. A different human Marcus. He was born on this world. He had never left the settlement. His entire life had been here. I helped maintain the wells, young Marcus said. His voice was proud. I was born here. This is my world. Gentox found this strange. A human born and raised on a Class-20 Deathworld. Growing up in constant danger. Never knowing anything else, they moved to the food-growing areas. The domes were large and filled with plants. Green plants. Real plants. Growing in controlled light and controlled air. We brought seeds from the ship, Morrison explained. Plants that we could change and adapt. At first, everything failed. The soil from outside was poison. Plants died when we tried to grow them in it. So we made our own soil. We broke down organic material. We used waste from our bodies. We created soil that plants could grow in. An older woman worked in the gardens. She was thin and strong. Her hands moved with experience. I am Susan Hart, she said. I was a farmer before the crash. I know plants. I know what they need. Here, we use every drop of water. We use every bit of light. Nothing is wasted. Our plants grow. They give us food. They give us life. They continued walking. The medical area was clean and organized. Equipment that the ship had carried. Some devices that Paul Rodriguez and Jack Stevens had built from materials they found. Beds where people rested when they were sick. Nancy Chun, the doctor, showed Gentox the records. Years of medical data. Birth records. Death records. Injury reports. 8 deaths in the first year, Nancy said, reading from the old records. Most from accidents or mistakes. Learning how to survive here was learning through pain. We made wrong choices. People died. But we learned. We adapted. What killed them? Vila asked. The first death was a man named Robert Walsh, Nancy said. He did not understand how bad the radiation was. He spent too much time outside without protection. He got very sick very fast. He died in 3 days. That taught us we needed better protection. The second death was a woman, Sandra. She was outside during a storm. She was hit by something hard, carried by the wind. We built better shelters after that. As time passed, the settlement grew stronger. They made mistakes. They learned. They adapted. By year 5, they had stable water. They had stable food. They had stable shelter. They had stopped dying from basic survival problems. But challenges continued to come. The radiation is always here, Morrison said. They were in her office now. She showed Gentox charts and graphs. Radiation levels by area. By time of year. By time of day. We discovered that the radiation changes with the sun's activity. Some days are worse than others. Some areas are worse than other areas. We learned to stay inside on bad days. We learned which areas were safer. The children born here have resistance that their parents did not have. Their bodies are adapting to this world. It might take 20 generations, but humans might actually evolve to survive here naturally. That is impossible, Marcus from the Valorian ship said. So is surviving this world at all? Morrison answered. But we are doing it. Gentox saw something on Morrison's desk. A small object. A piece of metal. From the ship, maybe. Or something else. What is this? He asked. Morrison picked it up carefully. It was a medal. Made from metal. It had a name on it. Robert Freeman, she said quietly. He died 2 years ago. He was one of the original crew. He helped build the first shelter. He helped create the water system. He helped save all our lives. We made this medal for him after he died. We give medals to people who do great things here. We honor them. We remember them. She pointed to a wall. There were many names on the wall, cut into the stone. A memorial, Morrison said. Everyone who died here. We remember them. We remember that they helped us survive. We tell their stories to our children. We do not forget. Gentox walked to the memorial wall. He read the names. Robert Walsh, Sandra Miller, Joseph Wong, Little Emma Davis, and many more. Each name a story. Each name a person who had tried to survive and failed. But it helped others survive anyway. Why? He asked. Why did you keep trying? Why not give up? Morrison was quiet for a long time. Because giving up meant death, she said finally. Because we had children who needed us to survive. Because there was still hope. Hope is a powerful thing for humans. We can do impossible things when we have hope. She looked out the window. Outside was the toxic world. The poison air. The deadly weather. The radiation. The darkness. This is not the world we chose, Morrison said. But it is the world we have. We have made it home. We have made it livable. We have proven that humans can survive anything if we work together and refuse to die. Gentox looked at the settlement. At the people working. At the buildings standing strong. At the children playing safely inside the domes. They had done something impossible. They had taken death and made it home. After 3 weeks on the surface, Gentox sent his report to the Valorian homeworld. He included everything. Videos of the settlement. Data about the humans. Medical information. Records of how they survived. Evidence that they were doing well. He expected a response that would praise them. That would celebrate the discovery. That would send help and support. Instead, the response made him angry. The Council of the Ascendant Species sent a message. The message was official and cold. It did not celebrate. It questioned. It demanded. It threatened. Gentox read the message in the settlement's communication office. Morrison sat beside him. They both knew it was bad before they even started reading. The settlement violates the Galactic Accord, the message said. Class-20 Deathworlds are protected territory. No species may establish permanent settlement on such worlds. This is law across all known space. Why? Morrison asked. She was angry. Gentox could see it in her face. The Council says it is to protect life, Gentox said slowly. They say that Class-20 worlds are too dangerous. That settlements will fail. That people will suffer needlessly. We are suffering and we are surviving, Morrison said. What do they want? For us to die? To leave? The message continued. There were more problems. Economic problems. The Council worried that if humans could survive on a Class-20 world, what did that mean for resource rights? What did that mean for territory in the region? What did it mean for Valorian power? They are afraid, Vela said. She had come into the office during the reading. They are afraid of what you can do. We are not a threat, Morrison said. We just want to live here. We just want to be left alone. But the message made clear that the council had other ideas. They suggested, very carefully, that the humans should be relocated. They suggested the humans should be integrated into Valorian programs. They suggested that the settlement should be closed. Gentox sent a reply. He said that the humans were peaceful. He said they were not a threat. He said they deserved to stay. The council's response came back quickly. And it was worse. They ordered Gentox to monitor the settlement. They ordered him to report on any threats. They ordered him to prepare for the possibility of removing the humans by force if necessary. They also sent another ship. A military ship. It arrived in orbit around the Deathworld after 5 days. It carried soldiers and weapons. Morrison called all the people in the settlement to gather together. There were 143 humans now. Men, women, children. They all came to the main hall. The Valorian Council does not want us here, she told them simply. They say we are breaking their laws. They say they might use force to make us leave. The people were quiet. Fear showed on their faces. But something else showed too. Determination. We have 2 choices, Morrison said. We can leave. We can go back to Valorian space. We can try to find a new home. Or we can stay. We can fight for this home we have built. We can show them that we belong here. They have weapons, an older man said. His name was George. We cannot fight them. No, Morrison agreed. We cannot fight them with weapons. But we can fight them with evidence. We can show them that we are successful. We can show them that we are not failing. We can show them that we deserve to stay. She looked at each face in the crowd. I will not force anyone to stay, Morrison said. If you want to leave, there is no shame. But I will stay. I will fight for this home. And I will ask all of you to help me. One by one, people stood up. Paul Rodriguez stood. Nancy Chun stood. Jack Stevens stood. Young Marcus stood. And almost everyone else stood. Only 5 people chose to leave. The next day, Gentox went back to his ship. The military commander was waiting for him. Her name was Captain Crow. She was large and strong. Her skin was dark purple. Her voice was hard. You have been too close to these humans, Krell said. You have forgotten your duty to the council. My duty is to tell the truth, Gentox said. The truth is that these humans have done something remarkable. The truth is that they should not be forced to leave. That is not your decision to make, Krell said. She showed him her orders. She was authorized to remove the humans. She was authorized to use force if needed. I will not help you, Gentox said. You will not need to, Krell said. You will simply report to the council that I have taken control of the settlement. The humans will be brought to the ship. They will be processed. They will be relocated to a proper colony world. Gentox felt anger rise in him. His skin turned dark red. Dark, angry red. That is wrong, he said. Those people have built a home here. You have no right to take it from them. Rights? Krell laughed. I do not care about rights. I care about order. I care about the council's law. I care about Valorian authority. Gentox left her office. He went to the communication center. He began to work on a very detailed report. He wrote about how the humans had survived. He wrote about their achievements. He wrote about their children who had never known anything but this world. He wrote about the memorial wall with the names of those who had died, trying to build a home. He wrote about how humans were different from other species. They did not give up. They did not accept limits. They could do impossible things. And then he wrote something dangerous. He wrote that the Galactic Accord should be changed. He wrote that humans had proven they could survive Class-20 worlds. He wrote that they should be allowed to settle where they could survive. He finished the report and sent it. It was risky. The council might be angry. They might remove him from command. They might even arrest him, but he had seen something in the settlement. He had seen human courage. He had seen human determination. He had seen humans refuse to die even when death was all around them. That was not something the galaxy should destroy. That was something the galaxy should protect. Morrison stood in the settlement and watched a military ship in the sky. She knew what was coming. She could feel it. The struggle for her home was about to begin. She looked at her people, at the community they had built, at the impossible achievement they had created. "Whatever comes next," she said quietly, "we did it. We survived. We made a home on a world that should have killed us. No matter what happens now, no one can take that away from us." The Valorian Council received Jen Tok's report. It caused more discussion than anything else in years. Some council members agreed with Krull. They wanted the humans removed. They wanted order. They wanted law enforced, but others began to question. They asked questions about the humans. They asked about the evidence. They asked about the achievement. Most importantly, they asked about the old rules. They asked if those rules were still good for the new galaxy they lived in. The debates went on for weeks. The military ship waited in orbit. Captain Krell waited for her orders to move. But the orders did not come. Morrison kept the settlement running. She kept people calm. She kept them hopeful. But she knew that the military ship was a threat. Every day it stayed in orbit was a day of danger. Then something unexpected happened. A message came from the council. Not an order. A request. They wanted to talk to Morrison. Face to face. In official communication. They wanted to hear her side of the story. Morrison prepared for the communication. She wore her best clothes. She made sure her area was clean. She brought evidence, data, videos, everything that showed what the humans had done. The council appeared on the screen. 12 beings from 12 different species. Each one was from a different planet. Each one represented millions of beings. "Dr. Morrison," the council leader said. Her name was Zenith. She was from the crystal world. Her skin was clear and shined in the light. "We have questions. We want to understand why you believe you should stay on this world." Morrison spoke clearly and simply. She told them about the crash. She told them about the first deaths. She told them about learning to survive. She told them about the water system, the power system, the food, the life they had built. "We have adapted," Morrison said. "We have changed. This world is hard, but we are hard enough to survive it. We will not fail. We will not leave." "But the law is clear," another council member said. His name was Grax. He was from a planet of gas clouds. He had no body like other beings. He was made of energy held together by technology. Class-20 worlds are protected. Settlement is forbidden. "The law was made a long time ago," Morrison said. "It was made before humans proved we could do this. Laws can change. Rules can change. When new truth appears, old rules must change too." Zenith looked at her. Morrison could see something change in the crystal being's expression. "You believe you belong here," Zenith said. "I do not just believe it," Morrison said. "I know it. This world rejected us at first. It tried to kill us. But we refused to die. We refused to leave. We built something real here. Something that will last." The council was quiet. Then they said they would discuss this. They said they would come back with a decision. Morrison waited. The whole settlement waited. Would they be allowed to stay? Would they be forced to leave? Would they have to fight? Days passed. A week. 2 weeks. Then the message came. "The council has made a decision," Zenith said when the communication began. "We have decided to change the law. We have decided that species that can survive on Class-20 worlds have the right to do so. We have decided that human settlement here is legal. The accord will be updated. The word will be sent to all of known space. Morrison felt tears on her face. Happy tears. Relief. You may stay, Zenith continued. You have earned your place. You have proven that humans are a species of strength and courage. You have earned respect. Krell received her orders. She was to stand down. The military ship would leave. The humans would be left alone. The settlement celebrated. They made food from their gardens. They made drinks from fruits that grew in their domes. They sang. They danced. They cried. Gentox came down from the orbiting ship one last time. Morrison met him at the main building. You did this, Morrison said. You believed in us. You wrote the report. You made them listen. I did what was right, Gentox said. His skin was gold and blue, happy and proud. But you are the ones who actually did the impossible. I just told the truth about it. That night, the settlement had a celebration that included Gentox and his crew. They sat at tables covered with food. Real food grown on this deadly world. They shared water that had been brought up from deep underground. They shared air that had been purified by their own machines. Why did you stay? Young Marcus asked Gentox. Why did you help us? Because I watched you survive the unsurvivable, Gentox said. His voice was serious and thoughtful. I watched you build where others would only have suffered. I watched children laugh in a place where most species would not dare to breathe. I watched humans do something that no one else in the galaxy has ever done. That is not something that should be dismissed. That deserves to be honored. Paul Rodriguez stood up. He was the engineer. He had built so much of the settlement. The Valorians came to us as explorers, he said. But Gentox became more than an explorer. He became a witness. He saw what we did. He understood what we did. And he told the truth about it. For that, we will always be grateful. Everyone in the room agreed. They raised their glasses. They honored the captain who had helped save their home, Dot, in the weeks that followed. Things changed. A supply ship came from Valorian space. It brought materials. It brought seeds. It brought technology that helped the humans expand their settlement. Other species came, too. Traders, scientists, explorers. They came to see the humans who lived on the impossible world. They came to understand how humans had done this thing. Morrison continued as the leader of the settlement. She made sure that every new challenge was met with the same strength that had saved them at first. She made sure that the young people who grew up here understood the history. She made sure they knew the names of those who had died. She made sure they knew how hard they had fought to build this home. Gentox was promoted. He was given command of a larger ship. A ship that explored new worlds and looked for impossible life. But he visited the settlement whenever he could. On one of his visits, Morrison showed him something new. A building that had just been finished. It was a school. A place where children could learn about many worlds. But also a place where they could learn about Earth. The world their ancestors came from. Inside the school was a wall. A very long wall. It had two sections. One section had the names of the people who had died building the settlement. The names of those who had not made it. The other section had the names of everyone who had lived. Everyone who had survived. Everyone who had helped build this impossible home. We remember both, Morrison said. We remember those who fell. We remember those who stayed to build. Together, they made us possible. Gentox read the names. Hundreds of names. Each one a story. Each one a human who had refused to die. Each one a human who had proven that impossible things could be done. Your species is remarkable, he said. We are just human, Morrison said. We do what we have to do. We survive. We build. We protect our people. We never give up. The sun was setting outside. The toxic clouds were turning orange and red. The wind was picking up. The radiation levels were rising. The weather was becoming dangerous again. But inside the school, inside the settlement, the humans were safe. They had made a home. They had earned their place. And they would continue to survive and thrive on this world that should have killed them, because that is what humans do. They survive. They adapt. They overcome. They never give up.